Hello viewers, welcome to BCM Breaking News. So currently, Omoyele Sowore, the 2023 presidential candidate of the AAC African Action Progress, had an interview with the Honest Brunch where he said quite a lot of things about the Igbo. And then Nnamdi Kanu's initial plan was not for Nigeria to break up, but for Igbos to have a good life in Nigeria. You know, Igbos were treated like second-class citizens for the World War that happened long time ago. So he talks about Nnamdi Kanu's, initial plan was not for Nigerians to break up, but for Igbos to have a good life in Nigeria. And then he said for Igbos to survive, Nigeria must break up. So guys, without much talking, I just wanted to look at this video where Sowore said a lot of things about, the Igbos, and then Nnamdi Kanu, how he was detained and everything surrounding his detention, and also what is happening in this country, Nigeria. So guys, take a look at this video.
It's not all history that is good, because the people who also always win write history. Yes. You are never going to get, for instance, the correct history of the Biafran War, because it was mostly written by the guys who won the war. Yeah. So you only have a few people on the side that fought who you can read their history, but you can't find it anymore. In this country, Wiwa was killed. The first thing they did after they killed him? They removed his books from the literature curriculum in the schools in this country. I don't know if they've restored it now.
Talking about Biafra,
yes,
you had a meeting with Nnamdi Kanu, and that sparked, in fact, at
New York.
Yeah, I think you got arrested after that meeting. People would say, you people are not fighting the same cause. You are fighting to be the president of the country. He is fighting to divide the country.
Yes.
People would say, why would you be seen in such a meeting? Would you like to clear that?
You see, anybody that lacks any sense of consciousness would ignore social movements. That is the problem with Nigerian leadership. You cannot have a country in which there are 251 tribes or languages, and one big section says we are not satisfied with here, and you don't talk to them, you don't understand them, then you are not a leader of that country. The reason I met him was to understand first what his struggle was about, which I knew already. And secondly, to also advise him on the way that I think we could all work together. And thirdly, to send a message to the Nigerian people that we can walk through our differences, even at these levels. And I was surprised that, contrary to what some people are saying, he did not want Nigeria to break up. He wanted a Nigeria where the Igbo man can survive. But for an Igbo man to survive in Nigeria, as it is currently put together, Nigeria must break.
Wait, the meeting you had with Nnamdi Kanu.
Yes.
You are telling us now that Nnamdi Kanu, from what you understand from the meeting with him, he does not want Nigeria to break, to divide.
No, he said clearly that it is too late for Nigeria to come together. But he gave his conditions. We live streamed the meeting now. It's online.
Okay.
And part of it was live streamed. Some of them were private. But he said that he feels that if Nigeria were to respect certain protocols, including a referendum inserted in the constitution, and he still says it even now in court, that if he's released, he will go back and end the bloodshedding. The bloodshedding is in that part, and that a conversation can. He says that in every court appearance, that he's being held is not helping the opportunity to have a conversation about whatever it is, the unity you are begging for. But you see, Nigeria has a problem, and I've always said Nigeria has an Igbo problem. And I'm not saying it to please people who are known as Igbos, but the moment they decided to take the action they took in 1967 to 1970, the war, Nigeria, having won that war in their eyes, never forgave the Igbos. That is the reality. And if I were to be president of Nigeria today, the first thing I would do is to head to the Southeast and apologize to them for the war. Part of it is that I never participated in it, and I cannot continue to fight a war that I did not engage in. And then ask them, what do we want?
So are you saying that the federal government has, even before
successive governments,
they've always had these anger against the Igbos?
There is a secret memo. I don't know where it is located in government that whenever we want to take charge in this country, be careful of the Igbo. Don't give them position. Don't give them opportunity. Otherwise, they will overrun. It is a well-known fact. Even our parents,
Wow.
tell us, Igbo. You understand? Some of them even say unconsciously. They even say it on radio shows in this country. So don't let us lie to ourselves, because except we bring this out openly and discuss, it's a taboo that we have refused to discuss.
True.
We are not going to solve the problem. It is the reason why the federal government of Nigeria feels that in 2024, detaining Nnamdi Kanu against all the court orders, against all the court rulings, is the only way to go. You know, I was detained in the DSS place for 5 months.
Yes.
There's nothing there to detain anybody for. The place is not even functioning. The DSS headquarters. Yes, is it the same DSS people who are watching BB Nigeria from morning to night? No, it's true now. I was there with them for 5 months. I've said this publicly. So all the institutions in this country are broken down. But let's get back to the reality. One thing I've told people is that you are looking at Igbos as the only people who want to secede. But who in this country today has not mentally seceded from Nigeria? Mentally seceded. Who has not left? Except those who are trapped. If anybody in this country is working in a bank and he has 10 million naira and somebody say you can get into Canada, he will leave the next day.
I swear.
Is that not secession? What does secession is that you leave a country, you say to that country goodbye,
and not do it
you
again.
get to the other country, you bow down, you touch the soil, and then you renounce your citizenship of the country you are coming from. Is that not what they call secession? So if you want to look at the number of people that have seceded in that Japa syndrome, there are more than all the Igbos combined together who are asking to leave. And in the process of keeping Nigeria united, we have let go of more citizens than the country should have. Yes.
So you think if they had, because I mean, from the last thing you said now, you see, in the process of trying to keep Nigeria united,
yes,
we have let go of more citizens than we should have.
Of course.
So if we had allowed for the division or secession of Nigeria, most of our citizens that are outside would not have been outside.
No, you see, it is not the secession I'm talking about.
Okay, what are you talking about?
It is what led to the war that we did not address.
Okay.
And what happened after the war. Why is it that Nigeria hasn't been able to overcome the Biafran problem? It's because Nigeria never addressed what the Biafrans were asking for before the war.
What were they asking for?
They were asking for to be treated not as second-class citizens in this country. Don't you know what happened, the cop program in this country, where people were slaughtered and their bodies and their heads placed inside the train going down south? Yes, from the mid, the different parts of the north. Are we ignoring that? So
that happened
before the war. Before the war, that's what they call program. You know, people who were settled, doing well, they were slaughtering them and sending their bodies and their heads inside Calabash and sending on trains that was heading east.
Were they Easterners?
They were Easterners. Why are you asking me? It's there. Go and Google it now. So you expect that will happen, and then there was a war that eviscerated 3 million people. Wow. And when the war was over, you just say, oh, nobody was vanquished, nobody was victorious. And then 3 hours. But you still kept a memo and said, don't trust them.
Collect people money,
yes,
give them 20 pounds.
And then you took their properties. Ojukwu did not get back JAMB until 1992. Now his father's house, that is known as JAMB headquarters here in Ikoyi. It was after he came back from Ivory Coast. It was Babangida, I think, that gave him back their property. So any country that is perpetually carrying out systemic injustice against will lose more citizens than they should have. The reason why countries that are work is because citizens believe in their country. And you cannot force that belief. It has to come through social justice.
True.
It has to come through economic justice.
Do you ever regret fighting for Nigerians? Because there are sometimes that you go online, you see some things, and look at the people I'm fighting for. They are busy talking about Cruz. They are busy talking about who is fighting. They are busy talking about whiskey.
Some people say Zukwani.
Some people now say, Sowore, Zukwani. You too, rest in Jesus' name. Do you ever regret fighting for these people?
No. The only thing people must understand about fighting for people is that it's a thankless job.
It's a thankless job.
Yeah, if you expect something from it, you'll be very, very disappointed. And that's where the trauma comes from for people who sometimes will just get arrested by police one time and you never hear from them again. Because that period that you have expectation for people to rise and support you, and if they are not there, it traumatizes people a lot. I know what it is. It's really part of reasons why if I hear that somebody is suffering oppression, I intervene in the best possible way I can to get them out. Because it's a very slippery slope. But for me, I don't expect anything from anybody. I don't expect to be paid. I don't expect to be praised. If I was expecting something from people, when I wanted to start our reporters, I would have been putting pictures of rich people. It's the easiest way to get rich. Just go to their weddings,
for magazines,
put them there in the best, ask them to bend, and take nice pictures of them. That's not the way to offend people. But I took the route of offensive journalism. And that means you are fighting powerful people. And powerful people are very powerful in such a way that even some of the most reasonable people can be asked by powerful people to work against their own interests.
And they will do it
more than the people who are oppressing them. And that's what Nigeria has shown us. Some of the people who are most virulent in attacking people who are doing good themselves don't benefit anything. It's called programming.
True.
They've been programmed. That's their own default position to fight first and foremost the person who's for them, and lastly, if at all, the person who's against them.
Okay, so
Tony, you wanted to ask a question?
Yes, sir. So you've run for presidency twice now, and you've been fighting for major political reform, right? So what do you see actually as the major obstacle preventing you from reaching the systemic change that you envision for Nigeria?
I do believe that there's nothing that is right in the country that could make it possible for a just and fair situation to arise in this country. It's not just about me alone, because we've reached a level that even if tomorrow everybody decide to vote for me in this country, somebody will rewrite the results to favor the person who may not even have participated in the election.
Wow.
And they will announce it and damn the consequences.
And nothing will happen.
And they know that nothing will happen. They, of course, will tell you, go to court. But don't forget, they are the ones who just appointed 11 justices into the Supreme Court. In the US, if a single judge of the Supreme Court is to be appointed, the whole country will shut down. Everybody will be asked, are you his classmates? There will be hearings upon here. Here, I don't even think if I ask you, the names of the 11 judges that were nominated by Tinubu into the Supreme Court. You might know that of the Court of Appeal because it's Wike's wife was one of them. So that one was
and the lady too.
Yes.
Yeah.
It was Wike's wife that put those ones in trouble. That's how we got to know who they are. But that's the kind of country you are in. It is the reason why in 2019, I then came to a conclusion that we must have a hard conversation about how to make the next move. And I seriously believe that only a revolution can bring about that order that we give life to the good people of this country.
I was coming to that place to ask you, why do you think revolution?
Because in every circumstance where revolution has happened in the world, all the objective conditions that are here were present. The only thing that is the ingredient we haven't added to it, the Maggi that we have not added, is a conscious populace.
For revolution, people will die.
No, it's not. See, let me tell you.
Because the kind of revolution that
on October 1, we had the protest. We're supposed to be a nationwide protest. The police were afraid to kill people because they killed in August. Yes, a lot of people. But do you know the number of people that died in a boat capsized in Niger? 160. So is it revolution that killed them? But it's the condition of their country that led to that situation. Because if Nigeria were to be functioning, it's preventable death. I'm not saying that people will not die even if the country is the best. I mean, Florida just went through a major flood.
And they're still going.
Yeah,
People died
Yeah,
there.
they just went
But
through.
the reason why you are not panicking about it is because you know they have a government that at least you know will bring
Works.
helicopters, will bring rafters and rescue people. I'm sure that they're even rescuing cats now.
Yeah.
So that's how important the life of a cat is to them than our life is important to our government. So you could be in any situation and die. In this, anything can kill you in this country. A whole luxurious bus can fly into the river. Nobody is even making any attempt to rescue them. So it is not the fear of death. It's not the reason why we should not advance a different political
So as you
agenda.
do now, you know the fear that.
Well, it is not something I argue anymore because I never knew, and I'm sure you hear this from a lot of people, that I will live to become 50. I never thought I would live to become 30 years old. Yes. When I was living in the University of Lagos, death was hanging all over me. You know, because I wasn't only after the military, it got to a point we also had to fight internally against cultism
Cultism, yeah.
on campus. And I was attacked by cult gangs on campus. So you know, when you open the face of different, you know, enemies, you know, around you. So, but I have lived a life in which I don't even watch my back anymore because it's no longer necessary. I can't protect myself, and I do not believe that anybody can protect.
And you know, also worried for your family if you're not protecting yourself. How about your family? Because if they don't feel reach you for here, they go feel see reach your family there.
No, but you can reach my family, but those ones at least have a general belief that they can be protected by their own
Government.
leaders, their own country. Well, let's also be very global in our thinking that the struggle for liberation, when it gets to a point, can reach you anywhere. I wanted to mention earlier that when I met Nnamdi Kanu in 2019, he said to me, "Are you going to Nigeria?" I said, "Yes." He said, "Are you mad? I just left Nigeria. They came to kill me in my house. They killed 28 people."
Wow.
And I remember telling him, I said, "If you are still doing this Biafran thing, you are not safe anywhere. Because there's a global interest to keep Nigeria the way it is." So that,
Global interest.
oil can keep flowing in direction of multinationals. There are people whose interest is to make sure Nigeria doesn't progress so that the black man will not find his feet globally. So anybody who is also fighting them here, you are fighting that global economic interest. And that is what was clear to us during Ken Saro-Wiwa's death. The world could have saved Ken Saro-Wiwa. Even Mandela refused to make the call to Abacha. Or he said he called Abacha, Abacha didn't pick. All of them could have made that call and said, "Look, if you touch this guy, we are going to give you hell." But because, you know, Ken Saro-Wiwa went and pressed the red button, which is oil. Do you know why? Ogoni land has over 62 billion cubic feet of gas.
62 billion.
This is not even oil. You know,
Gas.
Because what most people don't understand is that oil is going out of business. But gas is going to be around for a long time.
Yes.
So that is what they're interested in protecting. And the guy who started saying, "We own the thing," I was like, "What's your problem now, guy, man?" And they finished him. Global conspiracy. It's the same thing they did to Kanu now. How do you think that Kanu was kidnapped in Kenya and brought to Nigeria, and there's no manifest of the plane that brought him to today? Even judges cannot ask for it. How did he get to Nigeria from Kenya? Who was the person who abducted him from the underground garage? Who was he expecting that made him to drive privately to that place and got kidnapped? Who are the people that kidnapped him? Because the Kenyan government came to court and said, "We're not aware. We don't know who did this." Is it possible to fly a plane, a private jet, out of an airport without two governments getting involved? How can it be more secretive? It's because there are global conspiracies involved too. And it was as if I was being prophetic. The day he was brought back, I was at the Federal High Court. No, it was Court of Appeal, and they said, "Kanu has just been brought back to Nigeria." I said, "How?" They put a hood over his head, even in court. I ran down there. Before I got there, they had already arranged some kangaroo, to the judge. The judge said, "Go and detain him." And that's been his situation since then. That's been his situation since then. So I'm saying that we are also conscious at our level that we are not also dealing with local interests. And that there are, and I think my family understands that. Because don't forget, my younger brother was also killed a few years ago on his way from school in, close to Benin City. My direct younger brother. And see, today, the police did not disclose to us who did it. Even initially they said it was Fulani herdsmen. They sent us some pictures of people they claim were Fulani herdsmen. But my younger brother was killed at a police checkpoint that they claim had been vacated by the police. So, yes, it's heavy.
Global conspiracy to keep Nigeria where it is.
It is, yes. Yeah. Anybody who is doing this who doesn't understand that is not ready for a Nigeria of the future.
But people would say the definition, except you have another definition of your own revolution, but the main definition of revolution is forceful, takeover. And like Nedu said, bloodshed and stuff like that. How do you intend to make this work without also endangering the...
No,
because Nigerians are scared. The truth is, Nigerians are scared to die.
They are fearful people, yes, I understand. But I'm not going to sit here and tell you that you can, under any circumstance, get total liberation without a fight.
Yes.
Because even protests, they shoot at people. But what makes a revolution sweet is that it's the numbers you introduce into it. If a number of people, huge number of people can convince themselves that it's time to move and they move together, you have limited casualty. You have limited casualty because the people who want to kill you will be outnumbered. That's why revolutions are very popular and sweet. But to say that somehow I can guarantee you that the day after we will not count some casualties, including some of ourselves.
Do you think we'll ever get there where we'll say all of us will revolt?
Yes,
you think we'll ever get there?
I believe so.
So guys, you heard everything Sowore said in that video. There is one thing he said that I want to point out, and that is that Nigeria has an Igbo problem. So guys, let me know your takes on that. Put that under the comment section. Let me know what you're saying on that. And then he said that there's a secret memo that he doesn't know where it is in the government, that whenever they want to take charge, that they should be careful of the Igbos, that they should not give them opportunity, and then they should not give them positions. He said even their parents tell them about it, that sometimes they even say it on radio stations, guys. So guys, I also wanted to put down a comment concerning that. Let me know what you're saying on that. So let's just begin the discussion. So he said about the World War, what happened during the World War, and then he said that you cannot really know the history of what happened during the World War, because those people that wrote the history, they are the people that won the war. So you cannot really tell what happened. So let's look at what happened before the war. So according to Sowore said that before the war, the only things the Igbo were saying is that even Ojukwu was fighting for, the only thing Ojukwu was fighting for is that, Nigeria should stop treating, or the Nigerian government should stop treating Igbos like second-class citizens. Before the war, the Igbos were treated like second-class citizens. They were treated like slaves, even in their father's land. So the only thing Ojukwu was fighting for was that Nigerian government should stop treating Igbos like second-class citizens. Nigerian government didn't look into that. Then the war happened. So what happened after the war? They didn't still look into that. They left it. They were like, oh, the war has ended. They did not look into that. He said Igbos were treated like slaves back then. And the only thing they were saying is that they should stop treating them like second-class citizens. He said back then, before the war, businessmen they were doing well. We have eyed. They put their head in calabash and put them in moving train going to the east. This was how it was then. Igbos were treated like slaves. He said the plans Nnamdi Kanu had then was not for Nigeria to break up. His plans, he said he met Nnamdi Kanu, and after he met with Nnamdi Kanu, they arrested him. Nigerian government were thinking that he was involved in the plans of Nnamdi Kanu to divide Nigeria, so they arrested him. Sowore said in this video that Nnamdi Kanu told him personally that they even streamed it. Some discussions they streamed, and there are some that was private. He told him face to face that his plans was not to divide Nigeria, that his plans was for the Igbos to have better life in Nigeria, because we were treated like slaves. That was their plans, to stop the bloodshedding in Igbo land. That was his plans. He talked about circumstances surrounding Nnamdi Kanu's detention. So he said when he got to Kenya, Nnamdi Kanu was arrested in Kenya and brought back to Nigeria and detained by DSS even till date. He said there's a global conspiracy concerning Nnamdi Kanu's arrest because even the plane or the pilots that brought him from Kenya to Nigeria, that Kenya government don't know and then Nigeria don't know. They have not said anything about that. So Sowore said that Nigeria has an Igbo problem and that if he's the president of Nigeria today, that the first thing he's going to do is to head straight to the southeast and apologize to them for the war and ask them what they want. He said Nigeria needs to apologize to the indigenous people of Biafra for what happened during the war. So let me just say it according to him. So here he says Nigeria has an Igbo problem. Nigeria needs to apologize to the indigenous people of Biafra for what happened during the war. So according to Sowore, so he highlighted Nigerians' perceived Igbo problem, stressing it's a reality, not just a plea to gain favor. So Nigeria has an Igbo problem. According to Sowore, this is what he said. He said Nigeria has an Igbo problem, and I'm not saying this to please the people who are known as Igbos. So he continued and said that if I were the president of Nigeria today, the first thing I would do is to head straight to the southeast and apologize to them for the war. And then he said there's a secret memo, I don't know where it is located in government, that says whenever we want to take over or take charge in the country, be careful of the Igbos. Don't give them opportunity, don't give them position. Otherwise, they will overrun. It's a secret. It's a well-known fact. This is Sowore talking. So he also talks about global conspiracy. That global conspiracy will be the downfall of Nigeria if they are not careful. And then lastly, he said that for Igbos to survive, that Nigeria must break up. So guys, let me know your thoughts on that. Put down a comment under the comment section. Let me know your takes on that. And then don't forget to subscribe to this channel. If this is the first time you're coming across this channel, BCM Breaking News, hit the subscribe button. Don't forget to like and share this video. So guys, thank you for watching and I'll see you guys next time.